friends, welcome back. I'm MC, a knit and crochet designer and yarn dyer from Connecticut, and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Blame the Knots, on my website blametheknots.com, and of course right here on YouTube where you can get to know me a little bit better. Today we are here for episode 62 of the podcast. It is Tuesday, December 9th, and we have a heck of a lot of stuff to talk about today. If you are new here, what we do is we go through what I've been knitting and crocheting and spinning and weaving and sometimes sewing. And we also talk about what books I've been reading because I work in publishing. So let's start right away with what I'm wearing. I'm gonna try and keep today pretty quick because we are in Vlogmas season. I know a lot of you are probably watching Vlogmas just like I am. I am not doing Vlogmas this year, but I love to watch it. So the internet is inundated with content right now. So we're gonna try and keep things quick. Like I said, what I am wearing is my Second Ab sweatshirt. This is a pattern by Brie of the Little Wolf Knits. It is also made with yarn from Brie of the Little Wolf Knits. And I love it. I tested this. This is the first one that I made. I have made 2.5 of these so far. You will see shortly. And this is the first one that I made. I love it. These are the colors Barbie Girl, right? Barbie Girl and Troll Boogies. And I love it so very much. I also feel like you are lower than I want you to be. Hang on. I like this better now. I feel like I can get a little bit closer to you without cutting my head off. So let's jump right in to finished objects because we have some big ones today. If you have been following along, I've done a couple of videos about my attempts to finish a whole bunch of projects and maybe finish all of my whips before the end of the year. So I won't go into too much detail about that right now. You can go watch those two videos that I posted about it if you are interested in seeing where I was and where I am currently. But I have finished my Moana blanket, and this is one that I don't think I can fit into the whole screen. I don't know if you can hear me when I am this far away, but here she is. This down here is where I started, and this is where I ended. I'm going to try and give you the breakdown of each of these projects as quickly as I can. So here's what happened. I had a Moana and Moana 2 countdown from Brie of the Little Wolf Knits. I designed a pattern for the original Moana box, the Where You Are wrap, and received my Moana 1 countdown for that, and then I was gifted the second countdown this year by Brie, which was a lovely, fantastic gift. So this is, I just hit myself in the face. This is a blanket that is made with 60 20-gram fingering weight mini skeins, and I cast on, I believe it was 212 stitches, I think. It's a very odd number. I believe I do have it listed in my project page. Did an I-cord cast on, did an I-cord edge, garter stitched my whole way along, and just changed colors when I ran out. I held all of the colors double so that I was getting more of a DK weight gauge, and then I did an I-cord bind off. I ran out of yarn with about 9 stitches left to bind off. So I tinked back a little bit and I dropped down 3 needle sizes. I didn't mean to. I meant to go down 2 needle sizes, but I grabbed the wrong needle and I didn't realize it until I had already grafted everything together, and I said, I don't care. So we have a little end that's popping out, but whatever, I'll deal with that later. The very end, this much, is the bind off is quite tight compared to the rest of it, but you can't tell, and I don't mind. So this is done. I love it so much. It is so big. It is so heavy. And it is perfect in every way. So this now lives in my office. Currently, I've been keeping it on my desk chair because I get pretty chilly when I work because the heat blasts this way to like keep most of the house warm. And so like, yeah, it does get warm in this house or in this room, but over there, I get a little bit chilly. So I've been keeping this on my chair for while I'm working, and I have been loving it. Let's put it aside. The next thing that I finished are these socks that are made with the colorway Day Hiking from Woolens and Nosh. I don't know why I just put my hand in that like that. These have not been blocked yet. I have a bunch of knit things that I need to just give a wash, and I've just been kind of waiting because I felt like I can just throw these in with some of those other things instead of blocking them separately. So they haven't been blocked yet, but like I said, this is Woolens and Nosh Day Hiking. I did not use a pattern for these. I use a US 1.5 9-inch circular needle when I do my socks. I'm struggling a little bit because they haven't been blocked, so they're a little resistant, but I cast on 64 stitches. I did a 20 round cuff of 1x1 ribbing. And then I did 3 full repeats of the stripe pattern. I didn't measure or anything. I don't have a measurement of how many rows this is, how long they are. I just did 3 full repeats of the stripe pattern because that's what I felt like I wanted to do. Decreased to 24 total stitches for the toe. I just do a simple wedge toe. And then I picked up and I did an afterthought heel. When I pick up, I do 5 rounds of regular knitting before I decrease, and then I decreased to 32 total stitches for the heel. I believe that's all the notes I have to say. I think I wrote that all in my project page. Socks are done. And I had mentioned in another video that I really wanted to work on some Advent socks in December. That's not happening. I give up. I am waving the white or self-striping flag. I give up. They win. Those socks will be made another day. My next finished objects are all sewing, and I have a bunch, but I will go through them as fast as I can because I know that this is not necessarily a channel that is focused on sewing, and I don't know yet how many or if any of you are interested in this. So I will go through quickly, give you the details, link anything below that I use for patterns or tutorials. And if you would like to skip over the sewing and go to my works in progress, I always put the chapters divided out below, so you can just click to the next chapter of the video. So the first thing that I finished is a project bag that I made for myself with this little cow fabric, and I love it so much. I did not follow any kind of tutorial. I refreshed my memory on how to make a lined drawstring bag, how to do a box bottom. I had this scrap of cow fabric and I wanted to turn it into a bag, and I used every bit of it. I literally just folded it in half, and the only things that were lost from it were the seam allowances. So I folded it in half and sewed down one side and the bottom. Used it as a template to cut out this tan fabric that I then used for the lining as well in the drawstring. The end. It's great. I only have the drawstring on one side because I only had a seam on one side. That's that. The end. Also, I will say, for anything I'm about to show you, and anything that I'm going to show you for a while with any of my sewing, all of this fabric is from my childhood. It is at least 20 years old, if not more than 20 years old. So I cannot tell you where I got it. I don't know if you can still get any of this. This is all very, very old fabric. I'm really sorry if you love it. It's ancient. Anyway, next, I made a little mat for my desk to put my keyboard on. I used this mustardy color on one side and this blue textured color fabric on the other side. I sewed straight but non-parallel lines for like quilting in between. There's batting in there as well. So yeah, they just look a little bit funky. And I followed a tutorial from Susie Quilts on how to make a table runner. It's not that complicated, but I will link it below. And I a little bit wish I maybe hadn't used this mustardy fabric for this, because you'll see shortly what I could have used it for instead, but that's okay. This has been great. I'm going to go put it back on my desk now after I finish filming, because I've been loving it. Then the other day I made 5 little bookmarks, and they are so cute. Hold please. Grabbed a book, Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater. I haven't read it yet. They go like this. Oh, is this book signed? My book is signed. That's fun. These tuck onto your pages of your book like that. And then you can close it. I probably should have used one that has my higher contrast to show you, but yeah, they're super cute. I made 5 of them for my book club, and I'm a little sad because I forgot to count myself in the count for the book club, so I thought I was gonna have one left over for me, but I will not. But that's okay. I can make myself one at any point in time. Once I realized I didn't have 6 like I needed, I was like, I'm not gonna go back and like take out the supplies to make another one of these. It'll be fine. But yeah, I followed a tutorial. I will link below. I don't remember the name of the website I used. I followed a tutorial, except the only thing that I did differently is that I cut my squares to 3 inches instead of 4. I just felt like I liked that size better. I liked the slightly smaller size. This, I used all scraps of stuff that I had lying around the house. And then I made 2 stockings for myself and Joe, and I love them. They're super cute. I once again generally followed a pattern / tutorial from Susie Quilts. The pattern is for an actual like patchwork quilted stocking. I just used the pattern template to cut out solid pieces of fabric and then followed everything else. I just didn't do the actual patchworking part because I didn't feel like it, if I'm being honest. And I didn't want to have to cut up all the fabric. So both of these stockings have this like maroon with yellow mustardy stars on one side of it. And then the other one stocking has this mustard that I used in my desk mat on the back. And then the other one, I didn't have enough of that color, so I put this green frog batik print. I used to be obsessed with frogs when I was a little kid, so I figured this one could be mine because I was frog girl at one point in my life. And I thought it was still like a very Christmassy green. and I had enough. That's it. That's why we went with this. I also, the insides of them is just regular old muslin that I put on the inside. I quilted them in straight lines. I got to use my walking foot and my quilt guide attachment thing. It was so nice. I loved it. It was so much fun. So, did I make any modifications? No, I don't think so. I did, she uses ribbon in the pattern. I made these ties. I just cut strips to 6 inches long and folded them and made ties. And that is all I have to say about my sewing adventures. Works in progress is a limited category lately because I'm trying really, really hard to finish things and not start new things unless I have a plan. So the first thing that I have been working on and have really been primarily focusing on lately since I finished my blanket and then my socks is another second ab sweatshirt by Brie of the Little Wolf Knits. This is once again using yarn from Brie of the Little Wolf Knits. Is this video sponsored by Brie? It is not sponsored. Not sponsored. Just a fan and a friend. This is using flats or drums as the boucle and prongs as the DK yarn. I was here. You can see how long ago I started this because this is a Beetlejuice progress keeper that I put on here when I started it. The last time I showed this, I was just about at joining at the underarms. And so I have finished the body, done the hem, picked up for the neck and finished that. And I am at the point where I need to just change my needles and do the cuff of this sleeve. I started this sleeve yesterday. I have hair stuck to it. I started this sleeve yesterday. I just have to do the cuff, which I'm going to do this afternoon, and then pick up for the second sleeve. I'm not going to move my progress keeper because this will be done the next time you see it. I'm hoping to finish it before the weekend. There was like fuzz stuck all over this. So I'm hoping to get that done really, really soon. I'm very excited that is almost done. And then other big things that have happened around here is I started a new project. I know I said I didn't want to start projects, but it's fine. I know I said it and then I did it anyway, but it's okay. I started a hat for Joe. This is a muscle burra-ish. This is using espresso marl from the Yarn Shack, which is a literal like shack in New York that you can go in and it's like honor system. You can purchase yarn that is there, and this is Cormo. And I am making Joe a hat for Christmas. I started it like a muscle burra, cast on, did all the things. I always, for my muscle burras, you can see, I just long tail cast on 8 stitches. I don't do any of the fancy cast ons, and then when I go to weave in my ends, I will pull this tail through those stitches and secure it just like you would do at the other end when you are tightening off after binding, or not binding off, but like to bind off. I do the same thing at this end because I cannot be bothered with any of the fancy cast-ons. So I increased making an adult large. I'm now currently on just going around and around, but I am not planning on doing a full muscle burra because I know I won't have enough to make a hat that's like all the way like the right length and then has a fold over brim. Plus I've made Joe a DK version. This is actually more like worsted, but I've made Joe a DK weight version of the muscle burra like that folds over, and he doesn't wear it that often because it's almost too thick and heavy and hot. So the plan is to make it to a certain length and then do ribbing and have the ribbing be able to fold over at the brim and then do a stretchy bind off. I just need to sneakily find Joe's favorite muscle burra to compare this to lengthwise so that I know when to start my ribbing. Problem is, it's his favorite, so he wears it like every day. So I have to find a way to sneakily compare this, but this is going well. It's going fast. I will hopefully have this also done by the next time I see you. We'll see. I'm only going to be working on it when Joe's not around, so, but I would think that by the next time I see you, I will have it done because I'm hoping to have this as a Christmas present for him. And the last thing that I have is a spin, finally. So the last time I showed you this spin, I had one bobbin done and I finished my second bobbin. And this bobbin looks so much nicer than this bobbin. I like finally, it took forever, even like the quality of my spin, whatever. It's done now. I like finally found a groove at the very, very end of this spin. This is Scissors Lizard Spock on Falkland from Into the World. And so I have 2 ounces on either one of these bobbins. This is Obi-Wan Nanobi, my Dreaming Robots nano wheel. And I am planning on plying this with another Falkland braid from Into the World. But before I do that, can you see it? I have my EEW6. Where, how does the pointing work? My EEW6 is right there and it has some silk on it, and I want to finish that bobbin first because I want to, my nano's been acting up a little bit and I want to like maybe like take it apart, give it a good clean, see if I can figure out what's going on with it. And so I want to spin that other braid on my 6, and it'll also just be, oh, I moved you. Oh no. Sorry. It'll also be faster. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. Anything else that I have been showing you in the past couple weeks that I have not shown today, it's because I haven't touched it since the last time I showed it. So that is all we have for that. We have 2 big but quick announcements for the shop. The first is, if you have not seen it, that we have the Hall Pass box available in the shop now. You can shop our sale section. Basically what happens is that you will add a Hall Pass box to your cart, and then you can fill it with any 5 skeins from the sale section that you want to. We still have some sweater quantities in there depending on what you use as a sweater quantity. I think we still have some. I think right now we have 3 and 4 skeins. I think any that we had. No, I still see a 5 skein sweaters quantity up there, I'm pretty sure. So you can fill your box with 5 of the same color. You can fill it with 5 different individual single skeins, whatever you want from our sale section. And as soon as you add that box and 5 skeins from that section to your cart, the skeins will all suddenly turn to $0 and you will get a box full of 5 skeins of yarn for $100. That is a huge, huge, huge discount. We have fingering weight, DK weight. I don't think we have any boucle left. We have Surrey left. Yeah, so huge discount. 5 skeins for $100, gigantic savings. We still have plenty of yarn left. Thank you so much to everyone who purchased boxes. You can also get multiples, any multiple of 5, and the box will automatically trigger the discount to turn the skeins into $0. So you can buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes, whatever you want. Fill up your carts. Thank you so much to everyone who has already shopped. I spent hours packing those boxes. But I am so, so, so grateful. Thank you so much. I'm looking over at my stock right now. I have literally on this side of me, I have so much yarn boxed up and ready to go for my trunk show, which is our next announcement. And so over there, I can see all the space that any leftovers from the trunk show can go now. Some of those might be added, will be added to the Hall Pass section if they are left over after the trunk show. So that discount will stay up for as long as I can maintain it, as long as I have yarn to fill it, as long as I have boxes to fill. That discount won't go away. There's not a time limit on it. It's just so when it's gone kind of thing. So if you see something that you like, go ahead and shop. And our second announcement, like I mentioned, is that I have a trunk show this weekend coming up on December 13th. And that will be at Madison Wool in Madison, Connecticut. And I will be there from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Please come by if you are in the area. It would be wonderful to see you. You can also walk from Madison Wool to RJ Julia, which is a fantastic bookstore. Downtown Madison, super cute, lots of little shops. Make a day for yourself if it's nice weather and come say hi. And after the trunk show, if there is anything left, I'm sure there will be stuff left because I'm bringing a lot of yarn and fiber. If there's anything left, it will all be going onto the website. And like I said, some of it will be joining the sale section, some of our retired colorways. And I am bringing a new base to the trunk show, and that will be introduced into the shop after the trunk show once everything gets back into the house. Life has been very busy. Been doing a lot of this trunk show prep, just going. But that will be over soon. And let's see what else. We went down to Delaware to see Joe's family for Thanksgiving. That was really lovely. It was so good to see everyone and hang out with them. It was very low key, but it was really, really nice to see them all. And we also saw Wicked for Good. And I will not say any spoilers, but I really didn't like it. That's all I will say. What else has been happening? Nothing. Not much, really. I got to spend... Oh, I doubt the mic is picking it up, but Shandy is snoring. Joe was away this past weekend with some friends, and so I kind of disconnected for like 4 days and just knit and sewed and caught up on Vlogmas and did some trunk show prep and labeled a lot of yarn and stuff, but really just kind of turned off my brain and left the internet behind and just kind of chilled for a little bit, and it was really, really nice. All right, that just leaves us with books, and I have a couple of books to talk to you about today. I am very behind on my goal. I am trying to read 100 books this year, and I am currently at 91. So that is cutting things a bit close to read 9 more books before the end of the year. So I'm looking for shorter things. And this is really just because I wanted to try to challenge myself to read 100 books. It really has no like actual meaning. I just haven't done that in a while. I haven't read to that extent in a while, and I'm just trying to implement this challenge as a way to kind of like reignite that passion a little bit. So, is it the end of the world if I don't hit 100 books? No, because it's still like really cool that I've already read 91, but I really want to do it, and I'm gonna try. Anyway, the first thing that I read is Welcome to the Yunamdong Bookshop by Hwangbo Room, I believe is how you pronounce that. I tried to watch a couple of videos before this, and I hope that I got that correct. This was very cute. I gave it 3.5 stars. It is about a woman that opens a bookshop in South Korea, and it talks about a lot about like finding your happiness, finding what makes you happy and what really fulfills you the most. And it also has really good conversations about just passion for books, but passion for things in general, passion for whatever makes you happiest in life, and how sometimes that doesn't have to be something tangible or monetary or something like that. It also felt very, I don't want to say it felt personal, but it was about this woman kind of taking a leap out of corporate America and starting to work for herself because of her passion for books. And it felt very relatable for me, because that is what I did in the end. So it was very sweet. It was very cute. It did drag on a little bit, which is why I only give it 3.5 stars. I loved the messages. I loved the general idea of it, but it was a little bit long-winded. So 3.5 stars for that. And then next I read The Nightmare Before Christmas by Sarah Rosh. This was fine. I gave it 3 stars. I really liked the general premise. It is the prince of Christmas and the prince of Halloween end up falling in love. It was very snarky, very cute, definitely my kind of humor, very sarcastic. It was like, I don't know. I know it's like generally supposed to be a romance book, but there were like big problems, big things going on. And I really liked the story. And then like they would get distracted by like making out. And I was like, come on guys, like it's cute and all, but like, you know, like there's big crises happening. Let's focus on that. Also, it felt a little too quick for their relationship, but it was cute. I definitely think if you like romance more than me, which is mostly anyone, you'd probably like this more than I did. But it was good. It was really good. It was cute. Just for me, only 3 stars. And I will not be continuing in the series. It is a series, and I will not be continuing. Then I read The Woman in the Cabin by Becca Day. And this is a like mystery thriller that honestly I have read like 6 times before. It is the same story that 10 other authors have done. It's a woman in a cabin. Great description, MC. But there's a woman that lives in a cabin. Her husband is controlling, and then she's trying to escape. Yada, yada, yada. Just trust me. I don't want to spoil it for you, but like it's the same thing that I've always read. So many people have done this before. If you've read The Housemaid, if you've read The Last Mrs. Parrish, if you've read, I don't know, there's like there's so many other books, something wife, whatever, you don't need me to tell you. I can see why this book is so palatable for the masses, but it was 2 stars for me. It was boring. It was not original. It did nothing new. It was predictable and the same thing over and over. So 2 stars. Then I read The Dollhouse Academy by Margarita Montemor, which is like the coolest name ever. Margarita Montemor, like it sounds like some elusive, mysterious person, right? This is kind of a, like, a little bit like dark academia, kind of mysterious. I wouldn't call it a mystery, but there's some mysterious things happening. It is about a group of, or this like academy where you can go. It is run by this production company that produces the most popular TV show and movie franchise and whatever. And they kind of bring candidates up through the ranks into stardom, but some shady things are happening behind the scenes. This is my second book by Margarita Montemor. I also read Una Out of Order, and this has a very similar vibe where it's like real life, but there's something weird happening, but like, does it ever really get explained what's weird that's happening? You just kind of like accept that the weird thing is happening. Una Out of Order is a bit more like magical realism, and this is a bit more realistic and like science-based, the weird stuff that's happening. It's not science fiction, it's just like the weird stuff is like more real and less magical. But it's just kind of that same vibe of like, what's going on? Will we ever know? Do we have to just accept it? There's something funky happening. Like, what do people know? What can we find out? Can we find anything out? Will it ever be explained? Kind of deal. I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It's very good. I listened to the audiobook for this one and I really liked it. I think they did a good job. And yeah, that is it. So 9 books left. We will see if I get there. That is all I have for you today. I did not go as quickly as I had hoped. I was hoping to go a little bit quicker, but I had a lot to show you, which is really fun. I'm hoping that the next time I see you, I actually have very few things to show you, because I basically want to just have all of the whips that I showed you done for the next time that I see you. And then maybe like one other whip on the needles. That would be nice. That's the goal. We'll see if I can make it happen. But anyway, make sure that you head down below and like this video and subscribe, leave a comment, send it to someone that you think might enjoy it as well. Let me know. Okay, let's do this really quick. Who have you been watching for Vlogmas? I will tell you really quickly who I've been watching. Let's see. The Little Wolf Knits, Nitty Natty, Jillian Eve, One of a Kate, Slip Slip Sis, Plies and Hellhounds, Stitches and Starlight, that might be it. Melly Knits is going through her advents that she sent out, and those are always fun to watch. I think that's it for right now, or that's all I can think of. Who are you watching for Vlogmas? Obviously, I am not doing Vlogmas, but let me know who you are watching. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much for spending time with me. And until next time, take care of you, and I will see you later. Bye.